Welcome to the review for the Mid-Unit 6 test in Algebra 2. If you understand the concepts that I lay out in this study guide, you should do fine on the test on Monday. Every time we complete one counterclockwise rotation around a circle, we add 2 pi radians. A circle is 2 pi, and if you're going counterclockwise, then you are adding, or that is positive 2 pi. On the other hand, every time we complete one clockwise rotation around a circle, we subtract 2 pi radians. Again, 2 pi radians is one full circle, but if you're moving clockwise, then that is minus 2 pi. To find the radians of repeating points, we multiply 2 pi by the denominator of the original point over the denominator of the original point, then add or subtract repeatedly. For example, if our original point was pi over 3, we would multiply 2 pi times 3, which would give us 6 pi over 3. We would then add or subtract this to find the next points. If our original point was pi over 3 and we make a full counterclockwise rotation, we add it and we get 7 pi over 3. If we went from pi over 3 and we moved clockwise, we would subtract it and we would be left with negative 5 pi over 3. So whatever your point is, take the denominator of that point and multiply it by 2 pi, and then place it over that denominator. Then you can just add and subtract that. Sine refers to the y value. This means sine is positive in quadrants 1 and 2, where we are above the x-axis, and it's negative in quadrants 3 and 4, where we are below the x-axis. Cosine refers to the x value. This means cosine is positive in quadrants 1 and 4 when you are on the right side of the y-axis, and it's negative in quadrants 2 and 3 when you are on the left side of the y-axis. The graphs of cosine and sine start a cycle at 0 and finish a cycle at 2 pi. So they have a period of 2 pi, meaning they make one full repetition every 2 pi. The graph of cosine starts at y equals 1 and goes down, while the graph of sine starts at y equals 0 and goes up. So a cosine will start up and come down and back up, whereas a sine will start at the origin and go up, down, and up. The Pythagorean identity is cosine squared plus sine squared equals 1. If we are given sine or cosine, we can use the square root of 1 minus cosine squared or sine squared to find the other. So if we know what cosine is, then we could substitute that in and square it, then subtract it from 1, and we'll get sine squared. So then we need to take the square root of both sides to get sine. Or we can find it if we know sine, we can do the same thing to find cosine. So whichever one you're given, square it, subtract it from 1, and then take the square root, and that will tell you the other. If we are given a point with an angle theta, we can write the coordinates using sine and cosine as cosine theta, sine theta, instead of using x and y coordinates. So now if I had pi over 4, then to find the coordinate, that would be cosine of pi over 4 to get me the x coordinate, and sine of pi over 4 to get me the y coordinate. Tangent is found by dividing sine by cosine, or y by x. If the numerator is 0, then your tangent is 0, because anything, or 0 divided by anything is 0. If the denominator is 0, The tangent is undefined. It doesn't exist because you cannot divide by 0. So sine can be 0, y can be 0, and you just get a tangent of 0. But cosine cannot be 0, which means your x cannot be 0 because you cannot divide by 0. Positive angles are found by rotating counterclockwise around the circle, while negative angles are found by rotating clockwise around the circle. So if you're rotating around to the left, that's counterclockwise and you have positive angles. If you're rotating to the right, that's clockwise and you have negative angles. And the final thing we need to make sure that we understand, to convert from rotation amount to radian angles, we multiply by 2 pi. So if they tell us we rotate 1/4, then if we multiply that by 2 pi, that becomes 2 pi over 4, which is pi over 2. So 1/4 of the way around a circle would be pi over 2. So if they give you the rotation amount around the circle, you're going to multiply by 2 pi to find the radian angle. If you have any questions about anything I went over on this study guide, please use class time to ask for further clarification, or go back and re-watch the videos where we worked through the practice problems. The test will be Monday on Kidam, so you can show me that you did this worksheet to get your points, and then you can keep it to study with over the weekend.